Well, hello there, folks. Boatbreeder.com here, Arne Puse at the mic, and like many of you and many other columnists and writers and content providers, I've been also very shocked at first and then surprisingly enthusiastic about the latest bans and unbans in modern, and that led me to drafting this particular list. This is Modern Blue Black Tezzeret Top Tiers Control, and it bites. Also, some Tezzerets, their prices were not really updated on some website and it skyrocketed up, and Ancestral Vision might skyrocket up, but if you happen to have already all those cards because of Highlanders, Commanders, Legacy, from past Modern decks, from past Extended, then, well, you can build this awesome deck. This is a prototype. Some numbers might not be really where you wanna be, but essentially these are the cards you're looking for. Right, we have 24 lands and assortment of things. Among them, they have some pretty useful abilities, in fact. For example, you can have Telerio Dust in there, Warburg to fix your mana. Of course, you have some duels like Watergrave Darkslake Shores and Creeping Torpede. But Telerio West can get you Academy Ruins. Ruins can get you back anything. Also, West can get you Dark Steel Citadel if you really want an artifact that's indestructible, and then you animate it with a Tezzeret, or you can also get a Ghost Quarter with Telerio West. Or you can get Blinkmoth Nexus, which is also awesome with Tezzerets and such. Then you have both Tezzerets here. They do a lot of cool stuff. They dig or tutor for artifacts, they animate them, they do a bunch of cool things. I can't imagine this deck without them, and I think I like both of them in here. I'm not sure in what particular numbers. Maybe you want 3 of the blue-black ones, only 1 5-mana one. And then I found that I don't actually mind Liliana at all in this deck, but it's not integral to the deck. It just makes sense here, but you don't absolutely have to run her in this deck. But it seems like she belongs here in small numbers. And then you can also tutor or dig for stuff through Muddle the Mixture. It's a counter spell for just 2 mana. Yep, so you can transmute it and get your newly unbanned combo of Topper Foundry plus Sword that makes Sword was banned, and now you can get it. And what this does for you is that with each mana, with Foundry in play and this thing in play or in graveyard, you get a 1/1 flying top tier token and you get a life. So as much mana as you can get, like, you're gonna get that many tokens at that much life. So that's essentially the combo. That is just a solid win condition, I think, in addition to Tezzerets, of course. And you can go really fancy with this whole stuff. You can max on the combo parts, and then you can splash red and go nuts if you just want to have fun. You can add the Hammer of Porphyros, the Porphyros itself. Then you have infinite life, and infinite damage. Well, no, wait. You have to have green and red. So you can go Teamer, or what is it? No, you would have to go 4 colors because you would need Cryptolife, right? The 2 mana green enchantment that makes all your creatures into mana dorks. Then with Hammer, you can give the tokens haste, then you have infinite tokens, infinite life. So I suppose you don't actually need the Perforus, the actual god. But that's a totally different story. We don't want to go this fancy. Schmancy. Although that whole stuff is sweet, but it pushes us into a 4-color deck with some individually clunky card. So we don't really need that. Our cult to drop that provides some action is Bitter Blossom, which was also unbanned like a few months ago, not this time, but fits into the stack. Just something to distract your opponent, provides you chump blockers before you can assemble a whole stuff. You can tutor it with the model, but I just like this card because a lot of other interesting 2-drops for this deck don't really fit. Jace doesn't fit because you can't flashback Ancestral Vision and you want to play that card in this deck. I think Snapcaster doesn't fit into this deck because you have a bunch of non-instant, non-sorcery cards, and Snapcaster can't flashback Ancestral Vision once again. So there is an argument maybe to just take out the Vision from this deck and put like Serum Visions actually instead of Ancestral, and then you can play Jace plus Snapcaster here, more or less, in some small numbers. So that's a direction that is available to you. That would make also Inquisitions and Thoughtseize is better, for example, and a bunch of other stuff. So you have a lot of artifacts. That imposes some limitations. Yeah. Then, what else you can get? So you can tutor up with Tezzeret's spell guides to protect stuff or negate their combos. One of Tassigur is a fine grindy creature here. You don't have to run it, but it seems like this guy is in place here. Trinket Mage can get you a bunch of different things, like Chalice of the Void, Engineered Explosives. You can also tutor them up with Talaria West and other ways. Talaria West can also get you a blue pack to protect your combo when you try to resolve some of the key parts, or it can get you a Slaughter pack to remove a spell. You have some counter spells like Remands and Spell Snares as well. In the sideboard you could probably run more different counter spells, and maybe you can slice in more main deck somehow. In addition to what I show you now here, here you just have a couple of models, couple of snares, couple of remands, and a pact. That's generally supposed to be enough because you still have ruins to put stuff back on top of your deck if you really want to. You have a First for Knowledge for extra pro draw in addition to Ancestral Vision. Then you can tutor up also with the Tezzeret and Snare and Breach to slow them down. You might want to play the additional copy in the sideboard. I'm not sure if that's needed. Maybe you can cut one of the Damnations in the sideboard for that. Then extra Chalice in the sideboard. Batter's Skull, I'm not sure, it's just a filler, so feel free to put some card X here. I just think you want something along the lines of Batter's Skull. Maybe just Dragon's Claw would be okay, because I'm just particularly concerned about extra life gain sources against burn decks. Then a bunch of things that you can get with Trinket Mage, of which maybe you want an extra copy in your deck. So out of the sideboard, in addition to main deck cards, you can get another Chalice. You can get Executioner's Capsule as another removal spell, which you can also tutor with the Tezzeret, the Seeker. You can fetch an Isle Spell Bomb as a graveyard hate. Notice that it exiles cards from target player's graveyard, so your combo is intact. Python Needle is a cool way to negate their combo, so it's nice in the mirror. And switches off a bunch of things. It's a nice tutor target. Couple more spell pierces for control, and perhaps mirror as well. It counters their foundry, etc. Extra spell skite for some combos, extra Thoughtseize for combos and control. Then I think it's reasonable to run something like Extirpate or Surgical Extraction to get rid of their combo in a mirror match. Also a card that is fine in the mirror and nice against Affinity, which could be problematic, I would say. Harkill's Recall bounces all of their top tier tokens and their sword plus Foundry. Also good against Affinity. Particular anti-mirror card, Illness in Ranks. So basically, with this card in play, they can't really combo off. By the way, just realized that maybe this Battery Skull could be another Engineered Explosives out of the sideboard, the second one, if you really want that sort of thing against that Affinity in particular, and a bunch of other decks. Very flexible card. So perhaps with a couple Chalices and the combo, you're okay. And with Spellskite, Spell Pierce, etc. Knight's Assault Betrayal could be a cool card for mirror, I think, and actually usable in some other matchups like Infect, for example. And then if you play this card, then you just animate your artifacts into 5/5s, or just use the ultimate here. So you have ways to win. Yep. Then you would probably take out Bitter Blossoms, something like this. Take out the combo. You can win with just Tassiger Beatdown then, or Creeping Tarpit Beatdown. I just like that the illness costs 1 mana and it does what you need in the mirror, pretty much. Okay, enough about this deck, I think, for now. There are certain nuances you can talk more about the deck, but what I want to talk about next is what the existence of these kind of decks would mean for another cool modern deck that's been one of the best decks during the Eldrazi winter, and probably still gonna be okay. That is Abzan Galactic Company, so Milira combo deck. I just want to open a sample list of that I had a while ago and explain to you what this is gonna mean. I think Forge Tender after Eldrazi bans become more viable, but the go-to mass removals probably would be Dominations and Engineered Explosives, which means that while I still like Forge Tender, I think in this slot Dauntless Escort would be better. Then we might need to run Thoughtseizes again in the sideboards, because Scholar is good, but they can easily kill it in those blue-black control decks, and Sin Collector is too narrow. Linval is still okay because a bunch of different decks will actually start being viable again after Eldrazi's are gone. You don't need Firewalker really. Fulminator is actually fine because it can mess up their mana, kill an Axis or something. Eidolon could be fine, I'm not so sure, but the card that I definitely would need in the sideboard would be Phyrexian Revoker to shut their combo. Pride Mage and Order of Pontiff will likely move to the main deck, because I feel like those token blue-black decks with the combos and control elements will likely be viable. Not sure how strong they will turn out to be, but people would play them at least for a while. Then Mind Sense is probably another card that I would want in my sideboard, because those blue-black decks will likely feature a lot of tutoring with Tezzerets and such. And then, because out of the sideboard, they would have easy access to tutorable graveyard hate like Cage and Nile Spellbomb and Thermoscript and Relic of Progenitors, etc. Then having access to Archangel Foon plus Spike Theater backup combo probably would be very much needed, especially because they would most likely also side in Python Needle and sometimes preemptively cast it and name Viserysir in the blind, and then you just Corda calling the Archangel combo, and then you're golden. Decay is another card that would definitely have to stay in your sideboard, because they would have counter spells like Model serving multiple purposes in their deck. So you would need a good answer in addition to Pride Mage to their combo pieces. What else? Because some of those decks might run some Snapcasters, and they would definitely run Academic Runes. Scavenger's main deck is actually not the worst idea. I think it's fine. And because they would still have a lot of instants and some removal, so Voice is actually fine in the main deck. Not sure if you want like a third one in the sideboard or something like this. Finn Hunter and all the hunters will, etc., become much worse, of course, because let's just say you won't need this anymore after Eldrazi's are like almost gone from the metagame, and it's not nice to have these kind of cards in your deck playing against top tier deck. But that blue-black deck might be a fluke, might not be that insane, so it might be still okay to have Fin Hunters in your deck. I don't know. It's either this or having Decays or Paths. And you need some removal. So this leads me to thinking that you might want to actually have DK's main deck in the new metagame, because it hits their combo PCs. So I think you would put in something like one Fin Hunter but into the sideboard, move DKs into main deck, maybe cut on one card because you would be playing against a lot of control, and that means your stuff will die or get countered, and then put Path to Exiles, if you had them main deck, put them into the sideboard because they're miserable against tokens for obvious reasons. Yep. Also, while I was happy with only a couple of Witnesses in my deck during this Eldrazi winter, because of blue-black and discard and counterspells nature of it, and so on, I would probably want a third one. So if you had a Hunter's main, so that slot will now be a definite third Witness. If you already had 3 Witness and 1 or 2 Hunters, then Hunters will become Pride Mage and Pontiff for main deck. If you hadn't had if you already had those in your main deck for some reason, then your hunters will become the space for Abrupt Decay's main. So I think this is how it's gonna look like. You still would want Skataki because Affinity is still gonna be a thing. I don't know about Worship. It's gonna like buy you a lot of time against that blue-black deck, but that deck also is not particularly fast. So probably, yeah, the Worship days are gone because no more Eldrazi's. Like, you don't really need it anymore. The card was run basically just because of the Eldrazi winter. Outside of that, you don't really need it. I think that's about it. A Lark, you probably won't need the Lark, even with the blue-black control in mind. With Triple Witness, it's probably okay-ish. The problem is that it's like really slow. On the other hand, decks that might negate blue-black might be Grixis Control and Jund, or maybe even Abzan mid-range as well. And against those decks, you actually don't mind having Revelark in your 75. So, I don't know, if I can find space for Lark in my newly reshaped sideboard, then I think I'll put it in there. Especially because some slots will be freed and some would be moved in the sideboard, etc. But it's hard to say. Also because those blue-black variants will be kind of slow. That might make burn decks better. On the other hand, those blue-black decks would just run Chalice and sometimes just lock the burn decks down, but it's still kind of slow and clunky against burn. So there's a chance that I would still keep in like a burn turn plus Firewalker. But I definitely want a Dauntless Escort against Ratchet Bombs, Engineered Explosives, Damnations, and so on. That's what I expect to happen and play against. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to give your opinions in the comments below or on our social accounts. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye folks.